Joshua Jackson, he's here on the Rich Eisen Show. Our radio audience has just rejoined us. We were just talking about a clip that we just saw from Karate Kid Legends, available now exclusively in theaters with you and Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. And I mean, to be part of this,
it's so cool
series now, right? Like the Karate Kid is back in theaters.
Not only is Karate Kid back in theaters, but you have now, this is the movie that links the lineage of all the movies, right?
Yes.
And you have this new Karate Kid, Ben, who, God bless him, did the work. I mean, they put him through his paces, and the fight scenes are amazing. He's incredible in it. And yeah, I mean, I remember where I was when I saw the first movie. And Ben said an interesting thing, like for him, the Jackie Chan movie is the Karate Kid, right? Because he's of that age.
Yes.
And now for my daughter, maybe in a year or two, like he'll be the Karate Kid. I just think that's super cool.
That is pretty cool. And the fact that you're in it as well is pretty neat, man.
You know, she doesn't really take much interest in what I do. I don't know if I'm going to get cool or if I will just never be cool. How does that work?
Well, I have a daughter. How old is your daughter?
She's 5.
She's 5. All right, mine is 11. Just try and be cool.
Right.
Otherwise, you will not be
cool. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that would be my 2 cents of advice to you. And again, so I guess it's a very important question. Would you consider the original Karate Kid a sports movie?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yeah.
Because we've had this conversation quite a bit on this program.
And I'm guessing we got some no votes.
Do you agree that the Karate Kid is a sports movie?
It seems like more like a high school teen coming of age.
Right.
And the sports are just kind of.
I think it's all those things too. But well, I guess like, do you think martial arts are a sport or they're a martial art?
I think it's a sport.
Yeah,
I think it's a sport,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
like
sport.
boxing is a sport,
Right.
MMA is a sport.
Competition as well. You know what I mean?
Both,
But I mean, I guess you got to get into the broader definition. I think it qualifies as a sports movie because at the center, all those other things are true. It's a coming of age story. It's about a young man growing up, about learning who you are.
Yes.
But it's all done through the framing of that event at the end.
Correct.
Right? Like, for instance, say something like The Mighty Ducks, also a coming of age story, also about being a little kid, but the whole thing is built around that game at the end.
Yes. Agreed.
I have it on pretty good authority.
We'll get to that in a second. Hawks. Because my only thing is that you have to suspend your belief in the original Karate Kid that someone from New Jersey can't fend for himself.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the real controversy of that is that a Jersey kid comes to Southern California and can't hang.
Can't hang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's that all about?
That doesn't comport with my understanding of the two regions either.
I mean, you get shoved off his bike. I mean, come on. Like, what's that all about? Did you have a moment with Ralph Macchio talking to him about the original and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, when those guys, so we kind of shot the movie in 2 halves. Basically, we shot everybody else, and then Ralph and Jackie came towards the end. But Ralph's been at this for 40 years.
Yeah, man.
Right?
With Cobra Kai as well.
The whole thing. So he's like the catalog of information. If you ever need a Miyagi-ism, he's your guy. And then you've got Jackie on the other side, who is still just an insanely detail-oriented stunt master.
No.
It is incredible. So it was his crew that came in and put together all of the crazy fight scenes. And watching him work with these super high-level martial artists down to like the 1/4 inch of where their elbow goes or where their foot placement is it was so cool to be on set those days.
That's awesome, man. And you've got Karate Kid Legends available now exclusively in theaters. Joshua Jackson here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk with all due respect about the Mighty Ducks real hockey first.
Copy that.
You are from Vancouver.
Yes.
Okay. So do you root for the Edmonton Oilers because they're from Canada? How do we feel about this right now?
These next 2 weeks I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that is a huge regional rivalry.
I'd imagine.
So I'm not generally an Oilers fan or a Flames fan for that matter. But for these next week, I mean, it's been a pretty dry run here for Canada in the Stanley Cup. I think
1993 was the last
the Canadians.
time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we need one. and I got to say, just like Jersey getting its ass kicked by Southern California hurts.
Yes.
Canada getting its ass kicked by Southern Florida in hockey does not feel good.
Does not compute.
Does not feel good. It's a major existential crisis for us.
Despite them having, a Kachuk, I mean, you can at least respect that,
we
right?
do that.
I mean,
we do that. Well, it's not really a Southern Florida team. Look at all our guys, but still, the Florida Panthers, God bless them, but we need one. We need this one.
But I mean, Connor McDavid, when you watch him play, I mean, is he the best you've? And I know
I'm old enough to remember Gretzky.
Okay.
So that 80s Oiler team, like Gretzky, Messier, Curry,
Grant Fuhr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the back line. You had one of the Sutter brothers. I mean, Paul Coffey.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably the greatest hockey team that I'll ever see assembled.
Right.
But Connor McDavid is in the modern body, right? Because that's the other thing. I mean, these were hockey players in the 80s. It was
Right.
a different kind of athlete than a hockey player right now. And it's incredible what even that goal last night, right? I mean, they kind of bottled him up all night long. And you could see the tide turn for like the 2 or 3 minutes of ice time before they set that up. Because the Panthers were on him at the top of that OT. And you just felt it. You're like, oh, they're going to break out. And as soon as he got that puck off the wing, you're like, that game's over.
Yeah, it's a wrap. And I mean, and obviously we talk about who scores the goal, but you got to take a look at
It takes.
how
I mean,
it
this is the
happened.
beautiful thing about hockey, right? Like,
Right.
it truly is a whole team sport, right? Because you have a pinching defenseman, but you've also got the best player on the planet making the perfect saucer pass. But it also took the other pinching defenseman to come down and like dig that puck out.
Yeah, I
love
mean,
that game.
I took my son. He's currently 14. I took my youngest son when he was 12, 3 years ago, could have been 11, to the Kings Oilers game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Playoff or
no regular season.
season?
And he says, "Which one's McDavid?" And I said to him, "How about you tell me?"
Right. You'll figure it out quickly.
You
Yeah.
just look at the ice, and he'd never been to a hockey game
That's
before.
awesome.
I just said, "You tell me which one you think he is," and it was about 2 minutes of ice time,
Right.
and he could tell because even somebody new to watching it in person or watching it very much at all, you could tell the difference.
When I used to play hockey when I was a kid, my coach said at one point, this is kind of like a Miyagi-ism. He's like, there are players that skate against the ice and players that skate with the ice.
Ooh.
And Connor McDavid is one of those guys that skates with the ice. It's so seemingly effortless, but he's always in the right place. He has perfect vision of the ice at all times. And it just looks like the game comes to him always.
Does it kill you to talk about an Oiler this way, or even he transcends?
He's transcended.
Okay.
Yeah, he has transcended.
So what was this line from your hockey coach?
He said there are players that skate against the ice, and there are players that skate with the ice.
Which
right?
one? Which one were you in the
I
Mighty
was
Ducks?
definitely against the ice. Everything was struggle.
Okay, let's dive into this. How old were you when you were in the Mighty Ducks?
First Mighty Ducks was 13, second one was 15, and third one was 17.
Damn.
Yeah.
What was that like for you, brother?
I mean, as you can imagine, at 13, I had no idea. I had no idea about anything really. But
Right.
they take us to Minneapolis. They put us in like 4 or 6 weeks of hockey camp. So my introduction to being in movies is you get to go to hockey camp, which was awesome.
You're in.
And then you basically just hang out with 15, 13 to 14-year-olds for 3 months making a movie. It was amazing. It was just an incredible experience.
So you learned how to be on a movie set for the first time, or that was
Emilio.
Okay.
God bless him. Like, I don't know if it was my actual first day, but let's say it was my first day.
Why not?
I had literally no idea what I was doing, right? So I was nervous and trying to be a good kid. Oh my God, yeah, that little girl right there. And I learned all of the dialogue, mine and his. We're sitting around a table, and I guess when he was speaking to like keep myself on track, I was mouthing his words on the other side. And we get a couple takes in. He's like, "Hey, kid, don't do that." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, you don't need to say my words. I'll do that part. You say your words." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a good tip. Pro tip. Like, I love that one."
No
and he was
kidding.
amazing for me, for all of us. Like, he took that responsibility of being the adult, because there was a couple of us, I guess, who had worked a little bit, but none of us knew what we were doing. And he just kind of held our hand through the whole process.
The real coach.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. He kept on doing this, right? From the first to then the first movie comes out, there's success around this, and then we were making the second movie, and we're shooting is just before the Anaheim team, the professional team, started up. We had this one day where they filled the pond with actual human beings, and we played hockey in front of 16,000 people.
No.
One of the coolest things I've ever done to this day. And the full ceremony, like Melissa Etheridge, I think, sang the opening, that she sang the anthem, and then you come out and you do your introductions, and then you come out and you play a full game in front of an entirely filled arena. It was awesome.
Did you score?
I did score. So in for anybody who remembers the second Ducks movie, my character was actually hurt and had given up his spot, so I was wearing a different jersey number. So I wasn't playing as Conway. I can't remember. I mean, it was Averman or somebody, but anyway, I was a different player on the ice. And at that point, I was a decent player, so I was.
You improved.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I was skating more with the ice at that point. But at one point, I come off the ice, and there's all these people and a lot of kids, right? Yeah. And I just scoot down the tunnel to go to the dressing room, and Emilio immediately snatches me up, and he's like, "Don't ever do that again." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Everybody in here is the reason you have a job. Do not ever just walk past the people who give you your job. It takes you 5 seconds. Just like be a decent person." And another good lesson learned.
No kidding.
Wow. Yeah.
All right. So did you ever, while shooting the movie, make some athletic move and score that you weren't supposed to do, and you had to do it again or something like that?
I mean, I did the triple deke with a separated shoulder, so that's probably the most like hockey thing that I did. But I did score on a semi-professional, like a high-level college kid who was several years older than me. I scored on a slap shot from the point. This is 30 years ago now. I still remember this shot. I'm so proud of myself.
Did it make the movie?
No, it didn't make the movie. No, but I know, and he knows, wherever he is.
Joshua Jackson here on the Rich Eisen Show. I mean, there's so many things that you've done I can ask you about, but I got to go with this one. The scene in Ocean's 11.
Yes.
Where you're playing yourself, and you're playing poker, and Brad Pitt's character is teaching you how to draw out the bluff, right? And Clooney is sitting there, and this is an important, scene in the film.
Moment in the movie,
but you're playing yourself. How did take me behind the scenes of this scene?
I mean, Joshua. Again, I've had this wonderful life where there's just I find myself in these crazy places sometimes. So so I'm doing like, I don't know how old I was, 23 or 24 years old, and I'm sitting at a poker table, and it's not just Clooney and it's not just Pitt, but Steven Soderbergh is our director, right? Yeah. So I'm in this moment with these two like mega guys, just seeing if you can hang. So for me, the meta point of that scene right there is like, I wonder if I can actually be on camera with these guys and like not disappear into the woodwork.
Because you're Dawson Creek's Joshua Jackson in this
I'm just
scene.
Some schmuck off the.
No,
well, but let's be
you're
real.
One
like,
of young Hollywood
Clooney
people.
is still Clooney, and Pitt is still Pitt at this point, right?
Okay,
so it's not. So like there are levels to the game, and I'm not at that level.
Okay.
And we get in there, and the first scene of the day was with. First scene of the day was with Pitt only, and then it was Pitt and Clooney for the second scene of the day, and. The single coolest movie star thing I have ever seen, still to this day, we're off in the wings in between shots at one point, and I sort of like weasel my way into a conversation between Clooney, Pitt, director, producer, a couple other people, and I'm just like hanging out. And Clooney is in the middle of telling everybody the story. There's 12. This is how I got into the conversation. There's 12 Indian motorcycles just sitting in a spot on the soundstage, and I'm like, kind of a gearhead, so I was like, what's this? And he's like, oh, well, these are gifts for my friends, because you do this stuff when you're a movie star, but they have to go to Italy to get them. So I'm having all of these bikes shipped to Italy. So he's in the midst of telling this story, and a PA, so for people who don't know, a production assistant, it's the lowest man or woman on the totem pole, comes up essentially to ask everybody if they need anything, right? Hey, I want a cup of coffee, can I get you a snack? And she goes through, blah, 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 Brad Pitt. She gets to Clooney. Now, they've been working together for like 80 days, right? This is a known person. Can I get, Mr. Pitt, can I get you a cup of coffee? Young schmuck, can I get you a cup of coffee? Mr. Clooney. And as she's saying the words, she literally swoons. Like the brain just short circuits and she swoons. In the middle of telling the story, these guys got to go to Italy. He catches her, doesn't break his sentence, says, no, that's okay, babe, I got it. Puts her back on her feet and goes immediately back into his story. Which I took to mean, so many people swoon in this man's presence. He doesn't even break stride. Didn't even pause. It didn't even dawn on him what it just. He was just like, no, I got you. It's okay. Anyway, so we're gonna go to. I couldn't believe it. And if it was a setup, then bully for him because that's the best setup. I've been telling this story for 25 years.
Wow, fantastic.
It was incredible. It was incredible. He was so incredibly unfazed that I was messed up. I couldn't believe it.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I love stories like that. What a backstory. And I just love that scene. It's just such a fun scene of the film.
I mean, I can go into the nitty-gritty details of
Please.
it. So we're shooting this. We were on like day, let's say, 89 and 90. So we're right towards the tail end of them shooting. And I didn't know this at the time, but Steven Soderbergh is not only his own director, he's his own director of photography and his own cameraman.
Does everything.
So he's just bouncing around, and he's, it's poker table, so it's circle. And in the normal course of business, you'd have to move all the lights around every time he moves. But all day, he's just bouncing, nothing moves. And at a certain point, he sees something, and he's like, oh, this whisper, whisper, whisper. Somebody runs away. They come back with a binder. He puts the binder on the poker table, opens it up, flip, finds the location that we're at, looks, and he goes, what's that shadow doing on the wall over there? Because he's memorized his entire lighting schematic.
Unbelievable.
So that there are no unsupported lights anywhere in the room so that he never has to move a light, so he can just capture whatever he wants as he goes around. And then one of the other guys at the table asks him, hey, hey, we're on day 89. When are you going to have your cut of the movie done? Which is kind of an impertinent question, but whatever. And he thinks about it. We're on like a Thursday, going to shoot a Friday. He's like, well, probably going to take the weekend. Yeah, I'll probably have my cut done on Tuesday. Which for anybody who works in the industry knows is an insane thing to say. There's usually at least 6 weeks before even the roughest of rough cut. Yeah. He sends to his editor a list of the shots that he's about to do and how he would like them cut together before he shoots them. And then the editor puts his preferred take and the director's prefer, and so they're only ever 2 days behind. So he has the whole movie mapped out in his head and cut as he's doing it. It's the craziest thing I've ever been around. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so it makes it easier for you as an actor to do this sort of stuff, do you think? Because
what he said when we were there, at a certain point, like all of us who were not Brad Pitt and George Clooney were pretty nervous that day. And at a certain point, we go through the dialogue and we're like 2 or 3 takes in. He's like, okay, now just play poker. Now just play. Like, I built you the sandbox. You can't do anything wrong in here. So just play. And if I like it, I keep it. And if I don't, I don't. Just go.
Yeah.
It was the most liberating. He's so prepared, right? And he's planned for everything that you can do in the sandbox.
Yes.
So you have total freedom inside of that.
So you're not folding your hand against
against
Clooney
pedal
or
to the metal.
That's what I love about that scene because Clooney has his movie star moment.
Yep.
4 9s with an ace. It's pretty good kicker.
Ace in the hole, pretty good.
Pretty good kicker. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that sort of stuff. Karate Kid's Legend in theaters near you right now, released just last week. Like I said, I'm thrilled to have you here. You're a Niner fan before I let you go?
I am.
Okay.
So the Canuck part of my life is pretty painful, but the Niner part has been pretty good for these last several years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's so funny because TJ was, always so accommodating when we have a guest here. He put the mug there. For you to drink your water
he found out that was a Niners fan.
I said to him, "You're Niners, right?" And he says, "Oh," and he goes, "Oop," and he took the mug away, and you guessed immediately which team he's a fan of.
It's because you're still upset that we loaned you Dion.
Loaned? I mean, that was he was coming to us.
That is some old school grudges right there. Yeah. I am impressed, sir.
Look, I'm still holding a grudge against the great Dwight Clark for catching that touchdown.
You mean the greatest play in football history?
Unfortunately, it probably is, and the fact that I've got to see it so much just adds to my anger.
I love that it has become part. It's like it is the go-to NFL Films clip for like this is an amazing play, and makes me happy every time because with the Canucks part of my life, you only ever see the Canucks clipped into NHL clips when something bad happens. So I'm happy that one side of my fandom is actually supportive.
There you go.
And it comes at my expense. Thanks, Josh.
Which I'm also okay with. No love lost.
We do here, if you would oblige, on the program. The schedule comes out, and we have certainly a celebrity guest like yourself, play the win-loss game.
We're going to do over-under for the Niners next year?
You just tell me if you think this game's going to wind up a win or a loss. And if you are, trust me, if you are spot on and you get it right, we will keep talking about, hey, Joshua Jackson saw it. And if you're off, This never happened.
Okay. I love that.
This is my promise to you.
Okay.
Well,
Excellent.
I can't promise that if the Niners.
No.
do
Hey,
bad.
back off. Back off. Here we go. We get the music. Joshua Jackson.
Okay, here we go.
San Francisco 49er fan playing the win-loss game for the 2025 Niners at the Seahawks. What happens week 1?
That's a win.
All right. At the Saints week 2.
That's a win.
Home for the Cardinals week 3.
That's a win.
We're 3-0 with the Jaguars coming in.
We know that's a win.
Oh, we know that's a boy. He just went lower register.
Wow.
Normally, higher register. We say that you got to go higher register to believe what you're saying. You went lower register, which means
At Seattle should be hard, but with the new QB, new everything, I don't see that.
4-0 at the Rams here in Los Angeles.
That's a loss.
All right, and it's a short week on a Thursday. 4-1 at the Buccaneers.
Man, they've played us tough the last couple of years. That's a loss.
All
probably.
right, 2 losses in a row. 4-2 home for the Falcons.
That's a win.
All right, we're rebounding with a 5-2 record going into Houston at the Texans.
At Houston, D'Amico, that's a loss.
All right, 5-3 at the Giants. Wow!
So my brother Lyman
Okay.
is a massive Giants fan,
And
he knows that's a win.
6-3 home for the Rams.
That's a win.
7-3 at the Cardinals.
We always get funky with the Cardinals, and that's a loss.
All right, 7-4 home for the Panthers on a Monday night.
That's a win.
8-4 at the Browns.
I'm a believer for the Browns next year. I think that's a loss.
All right, 8-5 coming out of the bye home for the Titans.
That's a win.
9-5 at the Colts on a Monday night.
Who is even the Colts QB
I
next
think it's
year?
going to be Daniel Jones at this point.
That's a win.
Wow! 10-5 home for the Bears on a Sunday night.
The Bears.
I'm going to say that's a loss.
All right, 10-6 home for the Seahawks.
They're packing it in for the season. That's a win.
11-6. Joshua Jackson.
I like that.
That's not
That's a big rebound year.
I like that.
But last season,
Yes, sir.
it was the defense. Everybody put all that on Brock Purdy, but it was the defense. We couldn't hold leads.
True
so I know
story.
we had a huge amount of turnover on the defense, but we actually needed to do that.
Hey, man. No McCaffrey. No
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk.
And that's not
no,
a-
it's Trent Williams at times. Come on.
That is not a platinum schedule we have to work our way through.
No.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
11-6. That's a very
11-6.
fair assessment. Good luck to Canada.
Thank you.
And everybody go see. I never say that to a guest here. Karate Kid Legends available now exclusively in theaters. Go check it out with Joshua Jackson and a terrific cast. Come back anytime, brother.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. Joshua
All right.
Jackson here on the Rich
When
Eisen
we're
Show.
winning the NFC next year, I'll come back and defend my.
Hopefully beforehand.
Okay,
Beforehand.
excellent.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.